we are going to solve another equation that has square root. 2x plus 1 equals to square root of 10x plus 5. The good thing is the square root is already isolated for us on the right hand side. Therefore, we can proceed by raise both sides to the second power. We can square the left hand side and square the right hand side. And because we want to just cancel this, cancel that, isn't it? The right hand side is easy because we will just have the 10x plus 5. That's all. The square and the square root cancel out. But then on the left hand side, we have the 2x plus 1 raised to the second power. We don't get to distribute the 2 into the this term and that term. We must write down the 2x plus 1 times 2x plus 1. And we must FOIL this out. Okay? And let's go ahead and do that. We take 2x times 2x. And the result for that will be 4x squared. And then we continue 2x times 1. That's 2x. And let me just put down the result on the top. And right here we have plus 1. Take this times 2x. That's another 2x. This 2x combined with this 2x, we know that will be 4x. At the end, we take the 1 times this 1. Of course, 1 times 1 is 1. And this will be the result after we have the 2x plus 1 raised to the second power. And we'll just put this down on the left-hand side. So we have 4x squared plus 4x plus 1 on the left-hand side. So we begin with an equation that has radical with square root both sides. The radical and then the square root the square root and then the square cancel each other out. And we end up with an equation that has x to a second power, namely a quadratic equation. Therefore, we are going to make one side equal to 0 and try to factor out the other, and we can continue from there. Let's look at the right hand side. We have 10x plus 5. Let's minus 10x on both sides so that they cancel, and also put down minus 10x right here as well. At the same time, we'll minus 5 so that the 5 and 5 cancels. 5 and negative 5 cancels, and then let's put down the minus 5 right here as well. And we will end up 4x squared. Positive 4x minus 10x, we get what? That's negative 6x. How about 1 minus 5? Minus 4. And this is equal to, how about on the right hand side? Just 0. And how would you continue this though? 4x squared minus 6x minus 4 is equal to 0. Notice that we have 4, 6, and 4. All of them are divisible by 2. This is an equation, so what we can do is we get to divide everything by a same number. We can divide everything by 2. This way, the numbers will be smaller. It's easier for us to factor it. So let's go ahead and do that. And we see that 4 divided by 2 is 2, right? So we have just 2x squared. How about 6 and 2? 3, but that's a negative, so that's minus 3x. And 4 divided by 2, once again, is 2, but this is minus, so I'll put on minus 2. And then 0 divided by 2 is 0. And they're equivalent after you divide it by 2. And this is easier to deal with because the numbers are smaller. You can do this whenever we're trying to solve equations. Alright, and we're going to factor this out, and I'll show you guys the factoring by doing the tic-tac-toe method. How can we get 2x squared? Well, I think the choice is just 2x times x. That's how we can get 2x squared. How about negative 2? The correct combination in this case will be positive 1 times negative 2. And you put down the positive 1 right here, and you put down the negative 2 right here. Let's see if it works or not. 2x times negative 2, that's negative 4x. And we take the 1 times x, that's, well, just x. And then the middle parts together, negative 4x plus x, that's negative 3x. So you see, it matches. And that's how we know it's correct. So this equation turns out to be, the factored form will be 2x plus 1 in the parentheses times x minus 2. And this is equal to 0. And we'll continue from here. We make the first factor, 2x plus 1 equal to 0. And we make the second factor, x minus 2 equal to 0. This right here, as usual, it's just minus 1 on both sides, cancel, cancel, and then this is 2x equals to negative 1. And we can divide both sides by 2. So the 2 cancels, and it seems like my first answer is x is equal to negative 1 over 2. How about the second one? X minus 2 is equal to 0. That's plus 2 on both sides. Cancel, cancel. And it seems like my second answer is x is equal to 2. And now the question for you guys is, are they both this answer? Or maybe do we have one of them is the fake answer? Or maybe both of them are fake answers? Whenever we are dealing with square root equations, we must plug in the possible answers into the original equation and do the check to make sure that it actually will work. So now this part will be the check. So I'll emphasize, here is the check. Let's do the -1/2 first. Check x is equal to -1/2. And to do the check, we plug in -1/2 into this x, into that x, into the original equation. So we will end up 2 times x, which is -1/2, and then plus 1. Do we get square root of 10 times -1/2 plus 5? And everything right here is inside of the square root. So let's work this out real quick. What's 2 times -1/2? -1, right? -1 plus 1. And on the left hand side, -1 plus 1, we know that's of course equal to 0. On the right hand side, what's 10 times -1/2? Well, the result for that will be -5. And then we plus 5 to that. And then this is still inside of the square root. And you work this inside out. -5 plus 5 is 0. And it's in the square root. And we see that 0 is equal to square root of 0. Of course, that's right. Therefore, we know that x equals to -1/2 is an answer. And now let's check when x is equal to 2. Maybe it's wrong, maybe it works as well, I don't know. So now we are going to check when x is equal to +2. And by the way, I should also make a remark. Notice that the value of x is negative, but it doesn't mean that this is not the answer. Sometimes you may have a negative value for the answer. As long as you run through the check, as long as the equation turns out to be correct, it will be the answer. Okay? Anyways, so don't discriminate against negative value for the answers. Anyways, here we have x is equal to +2 that we're going to do a check. Plugging 2 into this x and that x. And we will end up to be 2 times 2 and then plus 1. Do we get square root of 10 times x, and x was 2, 10 times 2, and then plus 5. On the left hand side, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 plus, let's just write down all the work, 4 plus 1, we know 4 plus 1 will be 5. But then here, you worked out 10 times 2, which is 20, and then plus 5, and both of them are in the square root. And you see that 20 plus 5 in the square root, that's square root of 25. Square root of 25, it is equal to 5. Therefore, this is also correct. So we can say x is equal to 2. It's also an answer to it. Therefore, both of these are the answer to the original equation. That's it. Must do the check.